there we go. So here is the larger one. And he's Sewing Bird, larger Maggie, I've called this one. So it's just a little stuffed toy. There we are, made in lots of different fabrics, and his arms move. And this was the first one I made, which is why I've ironed out all the little tips and tricks that you may come across, because I was very disappointed in the first one. I had to turn it to the right side, turn it back again, turn it to the right side. Awful. So I've ironed those out so that you don't have to go through what I went through. So this one, I forgot to put the ears on. So he's just a little quirky bear with no ears. They are quite sweet, but as I say, they don't take too much fabric. Now this one, the smaller one, I did get him out of Charm Pack. I mean, that's not Charm Pack there. And I did use a little bit of glue with the intention of hand blanket stitching around those edges, but I didn't. As I say, I forgot to put the ears on in the end. And there he is. Lots of the remnants of my Charm Pack, my Autumn Woods Charm Pack. So he is quite cute, but I like him. So this is the bigger version, which I made up. I made up the size, and I think he's worked quite well. So he's got felt ears, felt face, bit of fabric here, and I actually use free motion stitching to stitch the nose on and all those pieces to the fabric. So what do we do? What do we need? So let me have a look. He's nearly a bluey. He is it. Oh, yes. That's an in thing, isn't it? So if you have a Sizzix die, they are called, it's a big L. It's just called a die, but it's Maggie and Quincy. I don't know if they're available now. I've had it years, absolutely years. I thought he could be a Halloween one, actually. Get your Halloween fabric out, do him in black and rust and with bats on, and he could be. Yeah, he really could. Anyhow, I'm going to dip us down now. Whoops. Almost. No, not that. That one. There we go. So I have dipped us down. I'll leave him just there so that you can probably see him. Okay. And I'm going to put that. Oh, what big eyes you have. Exactly. That is very true, Jan. Let me just put that there. And I might be able to see the comments if there's any as we go along. Okay, so I have let's come down just a little bit. There we go. Oh, you can't see him there, but he's here. There he is. That one's there. We'll sit in here. So what we need, as I say, the templates are there. So I have used fabrics and a combination of felt. So there's two body pieces. I've made a couple of the legs because they take a little bit longer. So yes, you've got the two main fabric pieces here. So that is our body. These are the ears. Now the ears on this one I've cut out of felt, but if you wanted to put, I've given the choice on the PDF. If you wanted to make them from fabric, you would just put the two pieces right sides together, stitch around that edge, and then turn it to the right side. So if you have no felt, you can do it in fabric as well. And you can leave that raw edge open, but as I will show you, before it's stitched, well, once you've turned it through and perhaps given it a little bit of stuffing or not, as the case may be, I would stitch around this edge about 1/8 of an inch in to hold it all together. That was one of the pitfalls in the first place. So always do that. So they're your two ear pieces. We then have I've called it face, but that's his face with the nose in the middle. Then you have two eyes that sit, let's pop it down there. You've got an eye and an eyeball, and you've got two of those. So they just sit there. Now what I've done temporarily is I have a tiny bit of glue. You could use glue stick, but I use fabric glue underneath the nose to attach it to the face, and also a little bit of glue underneath the eyeball. So that is how that is going to go together. And then what you will have as well are these pieces. I've just popped them right sides together. And if you want to use all different pieces, all the same for the legs, you might want them all to be pink or blue or whatever. But I've used different fabric for each side so that it's completely different whichever way you look. And I think the brighter the fabrics, the better. But these are sewing bird, as you will know. So the arms and the legs are both the same. So you will need 8 pieces, 2 for each arm and leg. And I've put those right sides together so we're ready to go. I have already made 2, but I will show you how they work. So that is all we need. But the first thing, let's just put these out of the way here. First thing we need to do is to take one of the main pieces, the front or the back, or rather this is going to be the front. So if you're using 2 different fabrics, you're putting on the piece which is going to be at the front. And then we are going to place our face. So I would place that centrally, and then I'll put my eyes there. I'm making sure there's a good 1/4 inch seam allowance or space there, so we can put the eyes right next to each other if you want to, like that. And just pull that round. So I have already put a little dab of glue there, but where did I put my glue now? I think I threw it back over here, and I didn't really look what I was doing with it. No, I did put it properly. Hello, Pollyann. Who's poorly? Who's poorly? Somebody's husband doing well after. That will be good. Is that Patricia calling me young Trisha? Oh, well, or whoever it is. I can't really look back to her. Could you make the little one in various Christmas fabrics? Yes, and hang from the Christmas tree. What a fabulous idea. That would be really nice. So I'm getting my glue out again because I suppose I could have used a glue stick. Perhaps I will use a glue stick because I have one to hand. So we won't use the glue. Let's just do that up. And I've got myself glue stick just for a temporary hold. So I've got my face where I want it. So I can put a little bit of glue on there. That's it. And then we'll put a little bit of glue just here. So I can just put the eye down there. And then we'll put a little bit of glue stick just there. Pop that back on and put our eye in place just there. I think my eyeball has moved a little bit. I think that's okay though. So now at this point, if you want to, you could hand stitch around the edge here. You could blanket stitch, but you could just tack it on, whatever. If you're going to let a child play with this, I'd make sure it's securely on there. But that's why I haven't used any beads or buttons or anything like that. If you're hanging it on the Christmas tree, I wouldn't let them play with it if you put anything like beads or whatever on there. But what I'm going to do is a little bit of free motion. So I've dropped my feed dogs and I've got my free motion foot on, and just see if you can come down a little bit further. Oh, no, not very. Oh, yes, that goes down. There we are. So I'm just going to free motion around the eyes. I think I did around the eyelid, on the nose and around the face, just to hold it together. So let's have a look. So I'll go a little bit slowly. There we are. because it's a very small piece to actually work on, and I haven't got any stabilizer behind it. So let's just go around. So I'm going to move it as I go. Let's go back there, and then I'll go around this eyeball. I don't think it matters that it's white. Can you see how slow I'm going? And then swivel that round so we can go around this white part of the eye. Just around there. And making sure my eyeball stays in place. Just. Okay, and we'll just go around there. So that is that anchored. And then I can go around the edge of the face. And as I say, because it's quite small, you might want to go around here twice. Okay, and just keep going around. I usually go a lot faster than this, but I think it warrants going quite slowly. And if you want to go twice, shall we go twice or shall we stay once? We'll stay once here. So I'm just going to go back over those few stitches. Oh, not bad. And I'm just going to cut it. And then I'm going to go around the nose. So, oh yes, I'm going to go further than around the nose. Okay. So I'll go around the nose even more. I'm going to get to the bottom of the nose because I'm going to do like a little V on the nose. There we go. There we are. I'm going to do a little V like that. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do, I don't know what it is, but it makes his face. There we go. Whoops. There we are. Right. So I finished that. So can you see it's not particularly in the center? Let's just clip that bit off. There we are. If there's anything you want to trim away, but that's just adding a little bit to his face. Okay. Next thing we're going to do. Right. We don't need our free motion anymore. So let's just take that foot off. I'll raise my feed dogs again. You'll notice after you've been doing free motion, that the feed dogs don't automatically come up, but as soon as I start stitching, they will. So don't worry about the fact that they don't look as if they've come up. But as I say, as soon as I start stitching, there'll be a little clunk and they will come up. Now, the other thing that so this is what I wouldn't do. I used a narrow foot because it's a small project. I thought I'll use my narrow foot. Love my narrow foot. Not a good idea with this. You do want to use your full 1/4 inch seam allowance because it will pull apart. That's what I found wasn't good at all. So make sure you use the 1/4 inch seam allowance, which is included within the template. Okay, so next thing, we need to make the arms and the legs. So as I said, I have done 2 already. One has just fallen somewhere. Or, yeah, no, it's just there. Excellent. So I've got 2 legs already. As you can see, very, very easy. So I've just put a darker and a lighter fabric right sides together, as you can see. And I'm just going to stitch around the curved edge, leave that open. So I'm using a 2 length of stitch. There it is. There's the clunk. And now it's working. So I am going to, let's just move those over there. I'm going to hold this and go around. So even though it's because the small size of the piece, I'm having to lift the presser foot as I go around this curve. And then all the way to the other side. And just reverse there as well. And then we're going to do the same. You're going to do 4 of these, but as I say, I have done 2 already. So let's just reverse at the beginning, go slowly into that curve, and then lift your presser foot so that you can move that round. You get a better curve if you do it bit by bit, and then come straight down that other side and reverse. Okay, now on the larger size of the teddy, it's quite easy to turn this inside out or turn it to the right side, but it's hard on this, it's small. So what I would do, if you can push it apart like that, and then if you've got a pokey tool and poke in there like that, very gently, just push that through, it comes to the right side easily. And then I just move my kebab stick around and I have a nice little leg or arm. So the same with this one, just shift it to the side. Can you see how I'm just holding it together? Shift it like that so that I can push the kebab stick in that end, and it's not very long at all. And we just turn it to the right side and then move it around those edges just to push it out. Okay, I don't even use, I'm not even going to press it either. Now, a little bit of stuffing, not lots, but what I would do is stuffing. I've seen a lot of people pull it apart into little bits. I would stretch it a bit, but don't pull it apart, because what we can do is just put a little bit to start off with. So we get a little bit going in here, and then just push that in with your finger. If you need, so I've got the rest that I can just, it will just pull the rest of it in. Can you see? And then just push that in like that. I think that's nearly enough there. So I'll pull that away and just poke that down to the end, because we want very little there, and you don't need too much. You can see it's got a little bit of depth. And I'm going to do the same with the other one. So just push that, the first little bit in, so that it's making its way in, and then just push. And the rest of it, because it's all attached, I think I'm going to pull that off there because I don't need that much. And then the rest of it, we can just push in. If you pull it into little bits, you're constantly putting another bit in and it won't go. And just trying to round that off a bit. There we go. Okay, so now let's just push that down. Now I'm going to, this is another thing that I learned, I'm going to align those raw edges, and I'm going to stitch about 1/8 of an inch across there to hold that together. I'm not going to worry about reversing at the ends, but I'll just trim that off. Whoops, having dropped my kebab stick. Trim that off. And then we're the same with this one. Align those raw edges, pop it under, and make sure they do line up, because if they don't, you're likely to have one edge coming apart. Let's just trim that, and you can see there it's stitched on the other side as well. Okay, let's just pop that there. So now I have my 4 legs and arms. So what I'm going to do first of all is get my 2 ears. Don't know which way you like, or the ears can go like that. So what I would do with the ears is they're curved, so they are going to come that way, but you can see that this curve is that way, the actual main body curve goes the other way. So what I would do is let's just swivel him round here. Don't worry about this one for the minute, but I would center that part on the center of his head, just there. And we can put a pin there if you would like to. And then I'm going to make the edge just as if we're using bias tape. I'm going to make the edge of the ear meet the edge all around here. And I'm going to stitch this first of all with about 1/8 of an inch. So I haven't put any more pins in, but I'm holding that down with my fingers, and I'm just going to stitch around here, and then I'll just pull that just to make sure. There we are. And just to the end there. So we've just got that one in. So now we can take our next one and do the same. So I'll make that meet where the other one finishes, and I'll stitch down that, that first little bit. And then I'm just going to hold up my ear. I will use my seam ripper there, and I'm just bringing that to the edge, right, and just move that just to hold that down, and we can check this in a moment. So I'm just pulling that edge around, making sure it lines up with the edge of the fabric, and then just pull that around just a tiny bit more. Okay, so I've attached those ears, and just make sure, oh, it looks like it comes down a little bit more on that side, but he is a quirky bear, but that way we've got them attached already. Okay, so now we need to take our legs and arms, and let's see which way. So if I want that to be on the front, I might have that on the front, and I might have him, no, I'm going to have him at the back. I'm going to have all light ones on the front. Let's have him down there, and we could have him there. Okay, so if I want that to show up at the front, I'm going to put that right side down, and if I want that one, that's going to go right side down, and these two legs are going to go just there. So because we're going to leave an opening down this side here, so I'm going to come round this corner. I never end up with an open corner. I want to make as much space here as I can. So I am going to move that arm up a little bit, and I push the stuffing in here, but I am going to use pins. Can you believe it? Trisha is using pins, and I'm not just going to use one pin. I'm going to have one pin at each end of my arm, because believe you me, these little arms move, and what you'll do is stitch all the way round, and this bit will actually have moved in here, and then it'll be a raw edge on the right side. So, oh, that's going on the front. So once I have pinned one, I'm going to move that round so that I can see that that is level with that one. And again, just holding that down, let's get a pin and pin that just there, and at the top edge as well. So I can see they're nicely anchored. Now at the bottom for his legs, the pins would go in there. That's it. The legs, I put those fairly close together because I like a bit here. Oh no, perhaps we'll put it a little bit further apart. So I would space them equally, about that, similar sort of distance each side. There we are. And again, I'm going to put some pins in here to hold it. So one at that side, one at this side, and two at this side as well. One just here, and one just here. Okay, so remembering the raw edges align with the raw edges at the side and there. If you start laying them out this way, they're going to be on the inside of your quirky bear. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to tuck our ears down because they need to go on the inside as well. And we're going to take our other main piece, right sides together. And I'm actually going to turn it upside down so that I can see where these ears are, because you see it puckers it a little bit because of that curve. So what we are going to do is we can start, I'll put a pin at this end here, and I'm going to make sure that that lines up around that curve, and I'm going to start Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the gap just here. So I'm going to start just below. There is my arm. I'm going to start just below there. So let's just take that over to the machine, and I can take my pin out, and I will just reverse just there. But while I'm not pinning around here, because you can see this doesn't line up because of all this bulk on the inside. But what I'm going to do is line it up as I go around. So let's just move that over there a bit more so that my arms aren't in the way. So I'm just lining that up. So I'm going to stitch now until I get to this pin, and I'm making sure these edges all align, okay, and nice and flat, which they're doing, because the ears are under here. So let's just move that around with the ears are in. And similarly here, they will pleat a little bit underneath, but just lay that down so that again, those raw edges are lining up. And the 1/4 of an inch, you'll see your stitching's in between the line we're stitching now. And at this point, we can line it up down here. And let's just see that that is, let's just make sure that lines up there. And we're coming towards our arm now. So let's just keep that aligned and just pull that fabric under there. I can see that now. So take that pin out as we get to it. Make sure we're doing our 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and line that up. 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. And then we can, actually I've gone a little bit too far. I'm going to go 1 stitch back. There we go. So that now I can come across the legs. So we're nicely pinned, and this bottom straight edge is quite easy to keep aligned because it's straight. It's around those curves that it's that little bit harder. So here we are coming along here, and I'm going to take this pin out now. So up to 1/4 of an inch. And we're just going to go just around this corner, not too far because I want as big an opening as I can get. You've probably just coming up 2 inches. So 2 or 3 stitches to come round the corner there. Now I am not on this occasion going to trim off these corners. They're staying there. I don't want to weaken that at all. And I'm not going to clip around here either, because when we turn it through, is going to be just fine. There we go. So the easiest way, you think, how am I going to get all that through that little hole? Taken a limb. I think this one, you could take the arm, but I'm taking the leg. So pull that leg, pull it through. Okay. And then, funnily enough, I think we'll find that the next one comes through as well. There we go. So there's the second one. And when you've got those two, you can grab hold of that and it starts to come out really quite well. And look, there's another limb coming here and another limb coming there. And here comes the face. And that was not difficult at all. Pull on the ears and there they are. So let's just get rid of that little bit of stitching. Whoops, and that one there. Make it look that little bit better. So here, he's come out quite cute. If you used a brown body fabric, let's just have a look there. If you used a brown body fabric and red nose, you could end up with a Rudolph. What a great idea. You ladies have such brilliant ideas, whereas me, I just go for bog standard and, right, that's going to turn in there nicely once we have our stuffing in there. So let's just turn that little bit through. We can give that, see how that just pulls together really, really nicely. So I do want to just poke that little end out just a bit. And we can also run it around the top of the ears. But there's really not much plumping up to do, but he's a cute little one. So again, let's get a little bit of stuffing. Well, that looks quite a lot. Keep it all in one though, because this is a lot bigger hole here to start poking this in. So I've poked my first little bit. You can actually get your finger in there. Reminds you of a gonk. Yeah, it is a little bit like a gonk. Oh, perhaps I should make a gonk. I think people have been doing that. So let's just push that in. And what I would do to start off with is push it up to the top. Push it to the furthest extremes, which the top of the head, okay, is the furthest away. So I'm just using the blunt end here. Just push it up. You can stuff this as much as you like, or you can make it nice and soft. The limbs don't want to have too much in them, because otherwise it's going to be difficult to stitch to hold them to the main body. But you see how that just follows itself in. There we go. So I've now I've done most of it there. I'm just going to push that down into that bottom little corner as well. Push that over to the sides and up to that top edge. And we can see he's a bit wobbly there. So we need a little bit more coming in here. And let's just open that up. And as I say, it's just a nice, could you fill it with some sort of element you can heat in the microwave? Yes, you could, couldn't you? You could put wheat, something like that. I don't know. Some of the other people sell, what do they do? Walnut shells or some sort of nut shells, which would be quite good. Ground nut shells. But wheat, I think, is the usual thing. Oh, I think perhaps I've got enough stuffing in here. But we just want to make sure there's enough down at this end here. So he's plump all the way. That's it. So I've pushed that in. We can push that out of the way so that our body is going to come together here. So if we can just pull that, tuck that edge in like that. I might put a little pin. Gosh, Trish is going mad with the pins today. Okay, so I'll just put a pin down there, and it's just under his arm, and all we need to do is stitch down there. So somehow I did have a little bit of thread. Oh, there's not very much on there. Not enough for me to use. And I found a needle which had got a nice largish eye and easy to thread. Look at that. First time, unlike me, but that went in first time. Let's just run the thread through my hand because it's a little bit curly. Get that end. And I'm doing it double thread just for strength. And I'm going to pop that round my finger, roll it down, and ground walnut shells. That's it. Used it for a pun cushion, did you, Jack? But it kept the pins nice and sharp. Yep. There we go. I suppose you could also put lavender in it with the stuffing so that it smells nice. Okay, so I'm going to take my needle in from the inside into the arm like that. Okay, so that is in there. Didn't look as if I went far enough down on my arm, but I'm just going to, where would you get ground? I've seen them online. I think House of Alistair sells them. Yeah, I think so. So all I'm going to do, but I would Google it. I mean, Amazon probably have it as well. You know, what don't they have? What they specialize in at the minute is half boxes of chocolates that have been melted with the heat and left to harden up. No, that was too much like sarcasm, wasn't it? Okay, so all I'm doing, you could do a mattress stitch or ladder stitch so that you can't see it at all. But is such a small gap. I am just taking the edge of both sides, and I'm going to take that pin out now because that's held together quite nicely. And I'm just doing quite a, I was going to say it's quite robust because I've used the double thread, and I'm just over sewing because I don't want the stuffing to come out. But I love the way this needle goes through the fabric nicely. Sometimes the needles are a little bit stiff, but this glides through. Saying that, it is a clover needle. Can't think what they're, gold eye milliner's needles, so they're a little bit longer. And so if you're making any of the stuffed pumpkins, this will be good for that because it is that little bit longer. So when I get to the end, I am just going to make myself a knot. I'm going to do another little knot there. So I just leave a loop and put my needle through the loop. But then my usual needle looks huge. It's quite long, but it's got a nice eye. Tailors. So then I'm going to go into the fabric and into the inside of the bear. So it's going to come out in the bear. So there is, can't see that, the knot has gone inside, and I'm just going to pull that. You can see how I've pulled that up. And then when I clip my thread, the end of the thread has gone inside. Then I'm just going to wobble him around so that the stuffing, there we go. Oh, so perhaps they were the box of chocolates that's come to Martin then. So there he is. Oh gosh, goodness. That didn't take long at all, did it? Okay, so there he is. He looks quite sweet, doesn't he? Oh. Let's see. It was as you ate them, knowing not knowing what they were. Yeah. So there he is, and sitting next to his big brother. Let's just put my needle there so I don't lose it. So there is Big Brother. There. Just as easy as that. The other one looks a bit lost now because he had no ears, but at least these two have got ears. Okay, so not difficult to make. They are. Oh, I'm glad you like him. I did wonder, mind you, anything I make, I think, oh gosh, I hope they'll like it. Let's see, I can't. Whoops, not that. I've got this positioned just in the wrong place, so I can't hit the turnaround button. There we go. We're back. So that's the one we have just made. And there's the other one. I'll put him in front there. You can see the difference in size there, can't you? Yeah, there we are. So there we are. I mean, normally you'd say I would make these using, what would you use? Fur fabric, or you might use the same fabric all over for legs and arms. But I think he's just that little bit quirky using all the different fabrics. Yeah, I think they will. I think Oliver and Charlie will like these. It wouldn't surprise me, though, if the older ones would like these as well, because they're quite, there's nothing in here. It's all stitched down. There's nothing that the children could possibly, the legs are nice, and the arms, give them a good pull. That's it. They're not going anywhere. So it's all the stuffing I've used is safety, hanging on your rucksack. Oh, goodness, yeah, you could. So when you're putting the ears on, obviously you could just put a little bit of ribbon on there now if you wanted to. But when you're putting the ears on, just put a little bit of ribbon in between, hanging down, so that when you turn it out, we've got a little bit of ribbon hanging there. That would be brilliant. Or I suppose you could put a little tab and then put a swivel clasp on there so that you could hook it on as well. But there we go. Hello, Jane. Hello, Pearl. Oh, is my mum there? I didn't see that. Jane is saying hello. Let's just have a look. Didn't come up on mine. Oh, there's Pat. Hello, Pat. Only just managed to join, says Sue. Oh, never mind. I hope you're enjoying. Let's see. I think he would be lovely as a, it's Jane's husband. That's right. Yes. So, but he's doing well. That is brilliant. I'm so pleased to hear that. On the up and yes, onwards and upwards. Lovely. But yeah, Scrapbuster. Absolutely. Oh, Polly Ann's husband. Oh, sorry, I thought it was. Who did I think it was? Jane's husband. Why did I think that? Oh, Polly Ann. Well, I'm glad you're both on the up now. Yes, and long may it last, improving every day. There we are. Okay. Not bad at all. There's Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth. And Jane, that's where it came from. Oh, just lovely to be back, Polly Ann. It's lovely to have you back. No worries at all. There's Raina. Hello, Raina. And what is this? I'm just looking back over the comments here. So what is this? Exactly. I've called it a quirky bear. So this one is, the little one's Quincy and the bigger one's Maggie. Oh, so it's big sister, isn't it? Quincy and Maggie. You can call them whatever you like. Okay, so you could put a name on his tummy. What a brilliant idea. You're also full of great ideas. Okay, so yes, nothing tomorrow. Thursday, we've got the fabric sale from Studio One. Christmas fabrics I'm doing on Thursday. So if you want to join me at midday, 12 o'clock, I shall be here. Thank you, Tony. And we shall then in the evening, I put, let's have a chat. And I thought we would have a chat about what sort of things you'd like to do, or a bell. Yes. But I may very well just put a YouTube one on as well. And then on Friday, I have put, I can't for the life of me think what I put for Friday, but I haven't done it yet. But I thought I would do it. So whatever that might be, that's what I shall be doing on Friday. Anyhow, I'm going to go for my dinner now. Martin has been delightful and made a cottage pie for this evening. Bye-bye, Paula. And I can smell it now. And I am really looking forward to it. So all I'll say is thank you for joining me this evening. And for anybody who couldn't manage it tonight, thank you for watching afterwards. I hope you like these. The PDFs are in the files, and there's two. One will say small bear and one is large bear. Bell in his tummy. Yeah. So that he rattles. Yes. Anyhow, yes. So thank you for joining me tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Those of you who are not 100%, improve and be better tomorrow. And I'm sending you all love and hugs, and I will see you very soon. So bye for now.